didn't press record yet.
Oops. May the intention flower. Sorry. Okay, serious thing. We're back to, do you remember the mood of when I started today? I said, what if there is that thing, the most important thing? What would you cancel for it? What would you do if that thing changed everything? If engaging with that reality completely transformed everything, what's that worth to you, right? I want you to think about that as we go through the last 5 nyomongs. This is the most powerful one, and this is the first of the 5 that are jikta, that are tawa. That's the 6th one, right? And tawa is wrong view. There's 5 flavors of wrong view. We can have any or all of them. And the first one is the most destructive. It's called view of destruction. It's called perishable view. It's jikta, Jikta, jikta. Know this one. This is your number 1 horrible disgustingness, right? Now, it's called view of destruction for what reason?
Destroys all your good merit.
It's because your view is focused on things that will destroy themselves anyway. Yeah? Your view is focused on things that will perish, perishable things. You think the self-existent boss that you're getting angry at is out there separate to you. That's a perishable thing. That's gone. You keep the karma. It's terrible. You keep the karma. The other reason why it's called perishable view or view of destruction is because the view itself at some point will be destroyed by wisdom. The view itself of seeing things as self-existent, of engaging with the world as if it exists out there, that itself will be destroyed by seeing emptiness directly through wisdom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Remember perishable view. Perishable view means it's a view of the world that focuses on objects out there, my thoughts out there, separate to me, my anger out there, my person out there, my boss out there, my house, my bus, the bus, all these out there things, all these perishable things. Yeah, it's focused on all these things that are just transient. It doesn't see them as transient. It's engaging with them in a specific, ignorant way. Perishable view. Yeah? It's also perishable because the view itself will disappear if you get a touch of wisdom, if you get to see how things truly exist. That view itself disappears. Very important to know this one. It is the source of all the other 5 that we just covered. If you're in the Hinayana track, this one, jikta, is said to be the very last mental affliction you get rid of just before you flop over into nirvana. If you're in the Mahayana track, if you're doing these practices through a Mahayana track, jikta is the view that you get rid of at what Bodhisattva bhumi?
9.
8 and 9. Yeah, 8. You are the equivalent of nirvana, and you're just working on missions from then on, right? So you remove jikta. You remove the subtlest tendency to see things as self-existent at Bodhisattva bhumi 8, or before flopping over to nirvana. Just keep it, because I'm going to do it quickly, because then I need David to do something. Beautiful thing. You cannot fit jikta and emptiness, shunyata, right, at the same. You can't sit in the same space. If you're having one, the other one cannot be there. They're polar opposites. They can't occupy the same space. So the yelling boss is getting you angry, right? You place emptiness upon that. Your best understanding doesn't have to be the direct realization. And you are destroying jikta as it arises. You get that?
Yeah.
Like, it's powerfully beautiful. You want to know antidotes. Right?
So that's the antidote.
Antidote to ignorance is? Yeah. No, the antidotes are practices and all these other things as well, but this is like a very simple one. Let's go number 2, say tarta.
Tarta.
This is the implication of jikta. So the second ignorant view, the wrong view. The second one is tarta, which means extreme view, and it means if you do have jikta, if you do see the world as self-existent out there, then you believe that things never change.
Right.
Right? You think that Hector is Hector this way, only this way. If that were true, I would never change. It means every single object, every single being that looked upon me must necessarily have exactly the same. If it's coming from me, it must have exactly the same reaction that you're having. And you know that's not the case, but yet that's how we operate. My view of that person is the way that person is. We miss it. It's so simple. We miss it. It's so simple. There is no such being, object or thing out there so fixed in the way you see it, so much the way you see it, that it is only that way. You know that intellectually, but behaviorally we don't know that. So by having jikta, we think this tarta thing emerges, these extreme views. And the two extreme views are, nihilism is one of them, right? That things do not exist at all. And the other one is that things never change, things stay static. Now, if that's true, when's the last time you had tarta? When is the last time you had the view of non-existence or the view that things don't change? Do you think I'm sitting here not changing? Do you really think that? Do you? No, right? Do you think I don't exist at all? No, right? So what the hell are they talking about? Right? What is this second wrong view that we all have apparently, that we have to get rid of, that says the view of non-existence, nihilism, that things don't exist at all, and the view that things exist just the way I see them, just the way they are, self-existently, never changing? What is that? What are they talking about?
The middle way.
They're implying the middle way, right? So they're implying that once you've got some kind of understanding of what this jikta is doing to your mind, this projection of self-existence, and you analyze it, 99.99% of people will go, if that view is true, then everything must be static, nothing changes. If things are the way I see them, then everyone, and it's coming from them, then every single, even an ant must see and hear and understand these sounds the way I understand them. But if you don't believe that, you wouldn't get angry when things don't go the way you want them to. It's hard and it's so simple. Yeah. There's two types of tarta, right? They describe things as not existing at all, the view that things don't exist at all, or the view that things are permanently and static, yeah, and don't change. How many people do you know that walk around going, things don't exist at all? Zero, right? You only do that as a stupid, educated Buddhist, right? You only do that. You only do that if you've got some training. You're like a monkey with a razor blade. You get an insight into emptiness, and then you think it's all an illusion, and the bus that's running me over is not really a bus. Right? That's the view that's saying the extreme of non-existence. That's what they're saying. Yeah? It's an implication of jikta, of ignorance. It's an implication of that. It says, if things really exist the way I am engaging with them, then A, they are static. Yeah, they can only exist that way. That's one of them. We haven't covered that one yet. And then if you're a slightly educated Buddhist, and you've got the wrong information, you think emptiness means that it doesn't matter, that there's no existence anyway, that there's no self, and that it's all an illusion. It really doesn't matter what I do. You know, like the story of the lady, Geshe-Michael used to tell the story of a Buddhist convention, and the lady coming out from the reception area, her bag flops open, and there's all these towels from the hotel. And all these Buddhists are like, what's that? She goes, it's all empty anyway. Like, wrong. You know, emptiness implies that you must act morally, because your actions, the karma that you do upon that blank screen, are the only reflection you're ever going to see from that mirror. So if you don't ever want to have towels, steal them. Right? So to misunderstand the explanation of illusion or emptiness and all this stuff is that extreme of non-existence. Yeah, so if you get a little bit of information, you're like a monkey with a razor blade. You're like, oh, nothing matters anymore. You're destroying your opportunity. Yeah, so this is a kind of bad thought that will do serious damage. The other one is obvious. Everyone is having that things never change. It's just the implication of thinking things are self-existent. If this lecture, from its own side, has wisdom in it, it doesn't matter if you're an elephant sitting in the corner, an ant sitting in the corner. If you're hearing these sounds and these sounds have meaning in them, it makes no difference whether you're deaf or not. Then the sounds must force the realization that you're having or not having. And each of you are having completely different realizations. I know I'm having a bored one. I'm like, come on, Hector, you keep saying the same thing. That it's so simple, we miss it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like there and you can't see it. The world, the way we are forced to experience it, can never be that way. It's impossible. And yet we engage with it in that impossible way and we create impossible mistakes. But it's fixable by getting rid of this one. So, going over. The next one is, so do you get that? The next one is Tartar, right? So the second of the 6. Yeah? So we've got 5, 6, 7 so far, right? The next wrong view is Lokta, which is just wrong view. And this is different to the first one, which was
Perishable view. Destruction.
view of destruction, perishable view. Yeah, it's different in that wrong view here means a conviction that there is no karma and a strong conviction that what I do doesn't have an implication. There's no past and future life. It's that classic Buddhist wrong view that says impossible, like you are 100% certain there is nothing that continues beyond this life, and that's what it refers to here. The next one, the next two actually are interesting. The next one is Tawa Chokzin, which means worldview best believe. Means I believe that my mistaken views are the best. You think that those 4, that things are self-existent, that karma doesn't exist, these are my best. These are the best, and I'm going to operate under those. The operating under those is this wrong view.
So you believe that.
So what would you call it?
It's an attitude towards all the other wrong views as being the pinnacle and the best. I would say Ayn Rand has this one. Yeah? Sorry.
But she's right.
She's right in so many ways. It's I would say rejoicing in ignorance. How's that? I would translate it in being happy that you're in a dumb state of mind about the way reality functions.
But you're not seeing it as dumb though. This sounds more proudful.
Yeah, it's not pride. This is an attitude towards all your wrong views, meaning things are self-existent. Things do stay from their own side.
It's like every cynical
Kind of like
person.
when you
It's
go around
not
trying
a
to
pride.
convert
It's like
people.
I'm certain of it.
It's like if you don't convert to our religion, you're gonna burn in hell.
Sort of like that.
type of thing.
Self-righteous.
Or is it like every cynical person?
No, it's not to do with trying to get others there. It's like you are firmly fixed that the way the world operates is this way.
That's like being a born again.
It's
or
a,
an atheist or whatever.
it's a I don't know.
It's just believing that all the other 3 wrong views ahead of
Correct.
it
That's right. Are the way to live a life. Yeah. You're not trying to
Yeah.
Proselytize.
that one. Yeah. The last one is, check this out. The translation was morality, aestheticism, practices are best. That's the translation, but the implication is that mistaken morality and aestheticism are best. And this is the wrong views, addressing the wrong views that if you starve your body to death and you chain yourself and you put yourself through deep human suffering, somehow you're going to come to a realization. Incorrect morality, meaning destroying the vessel that can get you to enlightenment. I mean, there was a practice where if you jumped off, in ancient India, there was a practice where you jumped off. If you were in the right state of mind and right at the right point of meditation, you jumped off to a trident and one hit you here, one hit you here, and one hit you here, then you reach nirvana or something.
What about like some of the sadhus that will like hold their arm up for forever or never sit down, but it's done out of an act of devotion. Would the Buddhists consider that?
It would be a wrong view if it was what it looked like. Yeah, if I don't know what's going on inside, right? So you always have to keep that to the side. But just plainly looking, if you're Geshe Michael's example in the 90s for this was when he'd gone to India and there was this great saint that was brought over who hadn't eaten a single grain of anything for 365 days, right? And everyone was revering this person for that. They weren't revering them for their mental state of mind. They were going, you cannot eat for a year. Like, how is that going to help you? How is that going to help you get rid of your moms?
So it's like thinking of the people that went into retreat thinking like, oh wow, they did a 3-year retreat, and not thinking, oh, they went in to look for realizations and come out and teach them.
No, not that. It's saying there are practices that look that are there to harm your morality and your body. Like if you cut yourself over and over thinking you're going to get some kind of realization, right? Now, unless you're like, I don't even want to say if you're an incredible bodhisattva or some tantric deity, I don't even want to say anything nominally like that.
What about that story where somebody asked him for his eye and he gave his eye?
Yeah. Good call. That's why I didn't want to go there. Yeah.
Is it like those devout Catholics that like whip? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Basically it was saying that the list of things that was going is like, don't starve yourself, don't harm the vessel, your body, don't put weird crap in your mind. It's pretty simple. You're seeing the world as self-existent. Because you see the world as self-existent, you do stupid things to try and get things you like and avoid the things you don't like, and in doing that, you're planting more negativity in your existence of a world that you think is self-existent. The only way to fix it is remove these nyomons with a powerful antidote called wisdom. Understand where things really come from, practice, meditate, etc. So it's not even that complicated. It's like, do you really need to go through a year of not eating to come to a realization of where things come from? Do you really need to go to that? It's believing that is the way out. That's the wrong view.
I want to say regarding to that, they were thinking like usually we are getting the way we want, the thing we want, and we are running away from the thing we don't want. So the way of the aesthetic is to go after the thing we don't want and to get it and the thing we want not to get them. And maybe that can lead to enlightenment, and the Buddha himself has done that, and
before he found the middle way.
Right.
Hence the reason he called it a wrong view. Yeah. So I'm trying not to force you into a box, okay? Because every experience you're going to have comes from your karma, right? You're experiencing your world according to your karma, and you can't judge what other beings are doing. But if you're not sure, here are some guidelines, okay? Definitely these disturbing emotions are controlling the way you live your life. Yeah, at some level we have some of these views. Getting rid of them, according to Lord Buddha, is the way to wake up. And then Master Shantideva goes on a rampage, which if you don't mind, I'm going to go another 5 minutes, yeah? And then I'm going to ask David to read, and you're welcome to stay here because I want him to read from the root text. That'll probably be another 5 minutes or a bit more maybe. Yeah, it's really worth it. And Master Shantideva goes, now, okay, here are the top 10, right? We covered them. Obviously, the main one is ignorance. Yeah, and then ignorance forces us to do all the other ones. He says, don't put up with them for a millisecond. They destroy everything about your life. And even if you forget Buddhism, he says, even if you don't believe in any of this stuff, they destroy your peace of mind in this life. As soon as you get angry, as soon as you have some kind of ignorance arising in the shape of these nyomons, jealousy, pride, all of them, your happiness is gone. And you only have certain hours in a day. And everything viewed from that perspective turns to crap. It's disgusting. It is the thing that's causing your trouble. He says that's if you're not even a Buddhist. You don't even need 2 brain cells to figure out that the thing destroying your peace of mind is your nyomons. Not the boss, it's not the job, it's the way your mind is engaging with that thing. Forget Buddhist practice. And then he says, well, if you are a Buddhist, well, by implication he's saying that if you are a Buddhist, and then the world really does come from the ripening of your karma onto this magnificent thing we call the universe, we share in that perspective, then you have to say that every suffering, every war, every child, every murder, every cancer, every anger comes from these nyomons. And in that sense, it is the most disgusting and vile enemy you will ever have. And don't entertain it for a second, he says. He goes, as soon as it arises, seek and destroy. Because unlike other enemies, he'll say it in the reading, I think, where you can wait for them to die, you can wait for them to go away, or you can hopefully think you'll beat them, or if you stay still long enough, they'll disappear. This one, the longer you entertain it, the bigger it gets, the more power it gets. Not worth having a second of pride, not worth having a second of anger, not worth having a second of ignorance, to the best of your ability. Right? So then he goes, go into battle, seek and destroy. And then he adds, he goes, think of all the energy you put into, I think he mentions a fisherman or something like that. Think of all the energy you go into, like killing lots of sea life in order to make $40 to feed your family. Think of the hours of work you put into your jobs, to pay your rent, to feed your food, your gut, to all these things that will disappear. You're willing to put all that much energy into these things to protect your body and to protect your thing. But the thing that is attacking you constantly, your blind spot, in your house, all the time, in your clothes, in your world, would you put as much energy into that as you put into the things that will disappear? He's actually really strong. So I'm going to invite David to read, and then I'll do more stuff about it next week. Sorry, I ran over. So
2 weeks.
2 weeks, not next Thursday, Thursday after. This is direct from Master Shantideva. Enjoy, and you'll see if you get any of the blah blahs.
The great enemies of anger, desire, and the rest are not creatures with hands, legs, or the like. Neither are they great warriors or wily masters. So how did it happen that they have made me like their slave? They live in my mind and hurt me at their absolute will. It's completely wrong that I should tolerate and not feel anger from them. My patience with them is a disgrace. Suppose the mighty pleasure beings and near pleasure beings all rose to be my enemy. Still they would never be able to lead me to the fires of no respite and throw me in. But they are my great enemies. The powerful mental afflictions can in a single instant throw me into fires so powerful that if the great Mount Meru were to brush against them, not even dust would remain. This great enemy of mine, the mental afflictions, can live for a very long time, for time without beginning or end. But there is not a one of my other enemies, none of the worldly ones, who can live so long. All look to help you and make you happy, if you make an effort to relate to them and serve them in a friendly way. But if you try to relate to the mental afflictions, they turn on you, hurt you, and bring you pain. They've been thus my constant enemy for a very long time, and are the one single cause that feeds and nourishes the entire mass of harmful things. How could I ever be free of all the terrors of cyclic life and feel gladness so long as they are rooted and fixed in my very heart? They are guards for the prison of cyclic life, for the hells and all the like. They are butchers that kill you. How could it ever be possible that I could have happiness so long as they are living in the net of desire that stays in my mind? Even in temporary situations, or someone does me some minor harm, I feel anger, pride comes. And until I ruin them, I do not even stop to sleep. Therefore, I must exert myself without letting up in my effort for even a moment, until such time as I have directly and finally destroyed this enemy. There are poor deluded ones who are willing to suffer. For those who are going to die by their very nature, they advance to war with fanatical hopes of destroying, completely ignoring the pain of being hit, never to turn back, never to withdraw from the field until they have achieved their aim. With the true enemy, an enemy who is an enemy by nature, who is the cause of all of our suffering all the time, there is no need to say that I must be the same. Whatever comes, I must never become discouraged. I must never lessen in my resolve, even if it brings me hundreds of sufferings. Like some ornament for their body, a person treasures even the mark of a wound meaninglessly put there by an enemy. So why should we consider a problem the pain we feel in our quest to attain a very great purpose? Even fishermen, butchers, farmers, and the like endure willingly all kinds of harms, such as cold or heat, thinking of nothing more important than their livelihood. Why then shouldn't someone like myself, for the sake of living beings' happiness? You have pledged yourself to free all living beings in the 10 different directions from their mental afflictions. At the time you have failed to free you yourself from your own mental afflictions, are you not some kind of madman then, to say so while you fail to judge your own level?
Thank you. Thank you for spending the extra time. It really is worth 15 minutes of your life to think about the things that now we've identified them. Yeah? Not next week, week after. We'll go a little bit deeper. You know the basic antidote. You have the information. You know about karma. You know about emptiness. You also know about not feeling bad about doing a goodness, right? So to whatever capacity you have, go forth. Don't let it sit in your mind for a second. No anger, not frustration, not ignorant way. You have the power to free yourself. I hope it comes. And through Thanksgiving, it's probably a good idea to give thanks for this information. So,
Sashi
Hukir Jishin Metotram Rirak Ningshin Indegim Hadi Sangye Shindu Miteruagi Drokun Namda Shinla Shupasho Idam Guru Ragnamandalakam Nivyatayami Digokun Sunam Yeshe Tsoksokshin Sunam Yeshe Lejunwe Dampa Duni Topasho. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Please always stay.